Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is the level 2 recording for the second half of 2018, semester 2 of 2018. I loosely call my university Flying Rainbow Lasagna University, and I'm professor, with air quotes, Flying Rainbow Lasagna Aurora. So yes, this is the second semester in quotes, and I just finished up the level 1 recording, which was the basic walkthrough of what are chakras, where does that word come from. Chakra means spinning wheel of energy. It is a wheel of energy that is made out of time. This is my small dog, Cheeky. She's my little dog boss over here, and I was talking about the various peripheral selves, the not real selves, the not eternal characteristics, and how the central core timeline is who you really become. So Pedro had an excellent question. He was asking me about that central core timeline, the path of least likelihood. Everyone who's in this level is an expert and knows exactly what I'm talking about. Can we put a Merkaba or a protective shield around that timeline? And the answer is yes. And I love your way of thinking. That is really, really good. I love that. Cheryl is saying in the chat, she says, when I first discovered Aurora, I stayed up all night watching the free lessons. I think that is totally freaking awesome. That's like, it's like you get lasagna and you're like, it's so good. Like, I'm just going to eat all the lasagna. But then, like, you got to take time to digest. I always tell people, like, be sensible, eat sensible portions, take time to digest, because these are like, they're very abstract concepts. And, okay, have some kisses, have some kisses, have some kisses. Let's look at some pictures, Cheeky. Let's get some pictures going here. Oh, I'll take all the kisses. I know she likes my cherry lip gloss. So what is Merkaba? Merkaba is a star tetrahedron. Let me go to a picture. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. You all right? Yeah. She had her chew toy, and she had a good nap, and then now she just wants a little bit of hugging, some loving, some hugging. Here's a picture for you guys. Wait. Actually, let me do this instead. Okay, so let me move. This was the left picture from level 1. Yeah, there you go. Settle down, little boss. Let me go to, oh, that's the animation. This is one thing I want to show you guys. Here's that picture. Star tetrahedron. Okay, so this is what a Merkaba is. Merkaba means light body vessel. It is ancient spiritual or consciousness-based technology that comes to us directly from Atlantis, the ancient sophisticated worldwide antediluvian culture. And it has been held in trust by various different esoteric or mystery schools throughout the ages, so that it would not be completely, let's say, written out, so that it wouldn't be edited out, because there's been a lot of suppression of this information. Because, yeah, the ones that like to screw with you and diminish your DNA and diminish your freedom in life, they don't want you to know about this. So the Merkaba information has been held in trust for a very long time. And now at this, in this transformative time on Earth, all of those informations that were held, like by different, some of it was held by ancient Egypt, the Maya, the Greek, the Vedic civilizations, like it's sprinkled throughout all these different ancient cultures. Everybody had a little puzzle piece. And there's even things in Latvia, like there are a lot of what are considered folk traditions that were part of tools for freedom that were kept hidden from those who would suppress it. So Merkaba, this means light body vessel. And this comes to us from ancient Atlantis by way of various different mystery schools. And here in this picture, what you can see, there are 2 tetrahedra. Tetrahedron is a pyramid, but it's not the type of pyramid that is at Giza. So if I draw on top of this to show you what's going on, see if I can find up color and draw. The pyramid at Giza has a square base. So I'm drawing kind of like a square base like that. So it has a 4-sided base. And then it has, 4 triangular sides that kind of go on top of it. That's a pretty good pyramid at Giza. That's not what these pyramids are. These pyramids are made up of tetrahedra, which have a triangular shaped base, triangle base, and then the equilateral sides that make up pyramid on top of that. So what we have are 2 tetrahedra and one is pointing upward. So let's say this one is the blue one is pointing upward with my blue arrow up there. And then we have the red one, which is complementary. That is pointing downwards with its apex at the, the down position, pointing towards the earth. So Merkaba is a tool that can be used in 3 basic ways. The first is, this is a shield or like an immune system for your time body. That's why I loved it when Pedro asked, can we take this Merkaba and can we put it around that central core timeline? Like, let's just draw very quickly the time vortex around this person. Can we put the Merkaba around that central core timeline so that it is protected going to infinity? And the answer is yes. That is basically what experts are doing when we are cultivating this Merkaba around ourselves. So it has 3 basic uses. Energetic protection. This is like an immune system, keeping out the energy that you don't want, allowing in the energy that you do want. So when you get these guys spinning, this one in females, and in my experience, spins around to the left, and the one that sticks out from the base of the spine spins around to the right. This is what I tell everybody. It's like if I'm right-handed, I hold my paintbrush in my right hand. I hold my paintbrush like this. You can hold your paintbrush in your left hand if it feels more comfortable to you. So if you want to spin this one around to the other direction or this one around to the other direction, you can do that. Do whatever feels comfortable and right to you. So people have told me, yeah, that males like to do it in the opposite direction than the way that I teach it. That's totally fine. This is just like snowboarding. You can put your left foot forward or you can put your right foot forward. Like, do what feels right to you. I'm not going to dictate to someone else what to do, but I'm going to tell you how I do my practice. So yeah, the way that I perform these maneuvers is by envisioning these 2 counter-rotating star-shaped or pyramid-shaped fields around my body. And this one goes around to the left. The one that is sticking out from my heart goes around to the left. And the one that is sticking out from behind the base of my spine goes around to the right. And at this point, it's so much a part of my practice that I do it literally all the time. So it is a protection for yourself. Like you see, there's a human figure sitting here in the Merkaba. So that person, she would be protecting herself. You can also put a Merkaba though around anything you want to protect. Like let's say, oh, here I'm going to draw like, this is a stick figure, but you get an idea. That's a stick figure of my dog. So you can put a Merkaba around your dog if you want to protect your dog. Every time we go to the dog park and I let Cheeky off the leash and I let her run around and meet other dogs, I put a protection around her. I put a Merkaba shield of protection around her. And basically what I'm saying with this is I only want to experience certain events. I do not wish to experience other events. So you can think of it in 2 ways. You can think of it as energy hitting this flat face and bouncing off. Oh, it's deflected like a shield. And then loving energy is able to come in through these vertices, this like V-shaped area here that is like an opening or an aperture. Or you could think of it as flying through time where there's different timelines. Like here's one timeline, here's another timeline, and here's another timeline. And let's say we don't want to experience this timeline. That's the timeline of, getting fleas or having another dog bite you. We want to experience this timeline. It's a timeline where everybody plays and has lots of fun. And so that is what I'm doing when I put a Merkaba around my dog. I'm like, I block out the timelines that involve death, dismemberment, suffering, discomfort, any of those types of things. And I put you on a timeline that is the timeline of joy, where we're spiraling, through levels of time, space, and consciousness and loving exactly what we're doing. So it's an energetic immune system. It is also a tool for manifestation. And there's all of this crap out there, pardon my French for saying it, it's just total nonsense and really not responsible in the way that people are speaking about it. I just gotta drink water. It's basically the idea of manifesting, personal manifestation, law of attraction. Some people base it in that show or that movie, The Secret, or Abraham Hicks, or Think and Grow Rich, or whatever it is, whatever is the flavor of it. It's the idea of, oh, you just align your thoughts with certain things and then can sit on a golden toilet seat. And that's not what I'm teaching everyone. Although you do, as co-participants, like creators of this world, miniature divine beings, you have a right to create the world, but also you're part of a bigger band. You have to make sure your music and your notes fit with the larger band. And there's the great conductor and the great composer. So when one is using this apparatus for manifestation, there's two aspects of it. There's, first I'll use a different color. You know, this blue aspect that points upward, that is the specific desires. When you're sitting in this blue pyramid and you're thinking your thoughts, you're like, I want an exact kind of ice cream. Like I want Cherry Garcia ice cream, and I want it to be given to me on Tuesday, and I want it in a blue dish. And then with the other aspect of this apparatus, we have, it's more of a bowl. Like it's, I'm kind of making a bowl like this. It's receptive. It's the pyramid that is pointing downward is like a chalice. That is like a cup. So you can see that it's like a glass, like a bowl or a glass that you can put something into. It's receptive. And you have to be open to dealer's choice from the cosmos, because the cosmos sometimes has a different agenda. You're playing these notes, and maybe the cosmos is going to play these notes. And they both sound really nice together. But if you only will accept Cherry Garcia ice cream in a blue dish on Tuesday, then it might not be exactly the right music for the rest of the symphony. So what happens when you get these guys spinning? So you press run on the program, exactly. I'm not a transhumanist. It's not about you being a software programmer or anything like that. But this is like how you program reality. You put in your specific desires in the upward facing pyramid. You put in your receptive desires in the downward facing pyramid, where you might say, I want something that feels cold and creamy and nice on a hot day, or that'll cool me down on a hot day. Or I want celebration food. I want reward food. I want to feel happy. I want something that reminds me of a birthday party. Or you know, any of the feelings, like the what are you trying to get out of that particular experience of dessert? And then what you do is you press run on the entire apparatus. You get this pyramid swinging around to this side and the other one spinning around to this side, and that is how you activate that program. And then what you actually get is a combination of your specific self-emanating desires and the cosmos's desires for you. This is cosmic lovemaking. It's very, very different than saying to the cosmos, I deserve and request a golden toilet seat or a cruise to the Bahamas or whatever. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to read the chat. Whatever it is, I have to wait to read the chat. Whatever it is that, you know, people think they just have to envision themselves on a cruise to the Bahamas and then they'll get it. Maybe the cosmos doesn't want you to be cruising the Bahamas. Maybe the cruise in the Bahamas is like destroying coral reefs and you should have a different form of, you know, experience. The whole point is it's cosmic lovemaking, not some kind of rape or exploitation. And everyone around here in this time and place is really used to sexuality being expressed in a way that I can only describe as, you know, inappropriate or exploitive. So someone's always getting, pardon my French, someone's getting screwed. That's not cosmic lovemaking, where one person benefits and the other person does not benefit. This is all about creating a program of reality where both beings benefit. You as the individual and the cosmos both benefit. So when you press run on your program, what might happen is you get some aspects of what you requested, but then you get other aspects that are new and possibly surprising. I'll give you an anecdote when I go back to my face about that. It's from the show The Magicians. And so that you can do it for protection, immune system, you can do it for personal manifestation. And then the final thing is, this is a vehicle for interdimensional travel. So this Merkaba shape, when you really perfect it, you really get good at it, you can use it to travel through the fabric of time, space, and consciousness, go into all sorts of fun and interesting places. So don't worry, I will go back to all the meticulously created images that I have for this. But first I want to give you a little anecdote of doing stuff with the Merkaba. And this, you're allowed to do this. You're a musician in the cosmos. You're allowed to make music. You're allowed to express your thoughts and your feelings, but you're not allowed to be greedy and self-centered to the point of only wanting what is good for you. So sometimes I do this very playfully. I was in my Merkaba and I was doing the flying rainbow lasagna. And one of the things that I thought about was that it's a particular show that I enjoy. And Pedro, who's also in this class, he also watches this show. It's called The Magicians. And part of what I like in that show is they do these things with their hands that remind me a lot of flying rainbow lasagna when they're doing their magic. And that's what real magic is. So I was, oh, here's little dog boss over here. I was in my Merkaba, and what I wanted, in my specific upward pointing pyramid, what I asked the cosmos for was, there's a part of the show where they go to the underworld, and everyone, their friends, hi sweetheart, their friends, they're happy girl, that are stuck in the underworld because they died horribly. They're playing bowling for all of eternity. And I thought in my Merkaba, well, wouldn't it be cool if some people that are stuck in the underworld that aren't playing bowling for eternity, but they're doing karaoke, right, for eternity. And they get bored with all the songs that are in the karaoke song catalog. They're like, okay, we've sung this song enough. So what they do is hijack the equipment and start using the karaoke equipment to sing their own, innovative songs. And that was my upward pointing pyramid, and my downward pointing pyramid was, dealer's choice. You can put all sorts of self-protection clauses in there, like, I wish for what is best, I wish for, and so what ended up happening in that show was, instead of characters singing karaoke in the afterlife, it was characters singing karaoke in a pocket world. Like, they all got taken into this little mental journey, like a little a sub-universe. And in order to get out of the sub-universe, they needed to work together and sing one of my favorite karaoke songs that's called Under Pressure by Queen and David Bowie. And they do a beautiful job of singing the song together. And that means that they've worked together and they've harmonized. And that allows the creator God to kind of unlock the door and lets them out of their prison. So I didn't get exactly the flavor of ice cream I wanted. I didn't get Cherry Garcia ice cream. I got frozen banana custard instead. But the point is, I worked together like a musician working together with other musicians in the cosmos to make something happen. And it was a wonderful affirmation that, yes, what I am sending out is affecting the world in terms of my mind, my requests, my desires, and that the world is listening, and that this is part of our cosmic lovemaking. So now let me get to the question over here. That is wonderful. Oh, and thank you, Nicole. Yes, if you have to, I understand it's hard to schedule. So if you need to leave, if you need to just come for a little while, it's totally fine, and you'll get the archive later. Pedro says, I started putting Merkabas on me and my family, I'm squinting, and friends, and now literally put Merkabas around every living being on Earth. Totally freaking awesome. Yes, do it. I was wondering if I could put a Merkaba around everything, all timelines. Can I put a Merkaba around infinity? Answer is yes. And I love the way you're thinking. It's like, don't think small, think big. You can put a Merkaba around every blade of grass. I put Merkabas around every single one of my own cells, every single hair on Cheeky, because we want to keep away the fleas and the ticks. You can put a Merkaba around everything. It is infinite. I put Merkaba around, you're just on my dress, honey, around photons. I put Merkaba around the sun, the stars, and every single photon that they emanate. Yes. It's like once your imagination begins to think, it's like if you're just using your imagination, you can think big. Just like that silly movie. I use this example all the time too. Green Lantern. In the movie The Green Lantern, it's not a good movie. Don't even waste your time seeing it. But the point is, he gets a magical ring. And with his magical ring, he can use his mind to manifest anything he wants. And he's like, okay, I'm going to manifest a gun and shoot my way out, or a car and drive away from whatever is my problem. And that's like very limited imagination, because what you can do instead is use your, sorry, oh my goodness, I'm getting so many kisses. Sorry, guys. Okay, Cheeky, let me talk. What you can do is use your ring of manifestation to manifest a million more rings of manifestation. Give them out to all your friends. And then have them all have perfect, empowered lives. Because otherwise, you got to go around solving everybody's problems. Be like, oh, okay, I'll put a Merkaba around that guy, and I'll fix that guy, and I'll fix that guy, and I'll fix that guy. And instead, how about self-empowerment? And that's the whole story of Flying Rainbow Lasagna. That's the whole point of why I'm here. That I just don't want to be the person that's like, oh, I'm the only person that can do Flying Rainbow Lasagna. It's a bit burdensome and also boring. And so like, why am I happy that the request didn't come out exactly as I wanted in the magician show? Because the point is, something new and surprising came out of it that was different than what I could have imagined on my own, and was eye-opening in some way. So yes, empowering other people so that they can not only protect themselves and live their best, that they can also manifest their best lives, and that they can travel through time and space in a more empowered way. That makes all of reality more fun. It would be not a perfect world if I was in my happy mansion with my golden toilet seat and everyone else out there was like dying of cancer, had no water to drink, was busy, fighting over the last crust of bread. That would be hell. That would not be a heavenly world. A heavenly world is where we all get to be master manifestors and do exactly the things that we want to do with our lives. Back to this question. Oh, no. Okay. So you're good. You're good. All right. So yes, Merkaba is a tool that is used in these various different ways. Now let me talk about the star tetrahedron and its connection to Flower of Life. So I got to go back to my little share screen. Sorry, I couldn't read the chat when you guys were doing it. I had to get out of the share screen. Thank you for understanding. Okay. I'm meticulously well arranged. Oh, hold on a second. Trying to move this. Boom. Now I hope you can see this image that I've got over here. This is not my own drawing, something that I found already prepared. And it basically shows mitosis or cell division. So for you guys that have been in this class already, who have done level 1, this might be familiar to you. If it's not familiar, let's go through it from the beginning. What you have at the top of that diagram is a single cell that then you see it beginning to subdivide into about 2, 4, and then 8, and then more and more subdivisions until it makes that cluster of cells that would be considered the beginning of our physical bodies. When we begin this level of cell division and this we could call this a geometric expansion. I should have said that in level 1. I don't define the things that I'm speaking about here as sacred geometry, quote unquote, because the word geometry has at its root the word geo, meaning earth, and the word metric, meaning to measure. And it literally derives from ancient Egypt, when the yearly flooding of the Nile made it so that they had to constantly redraw farm diagrams and the boundaries so that everyone who knew where they would get their farm from, so it was fair, they had to learn to measure the earth. This is way more than measuring the earth. What we're talking about in terms of the timelines is way more than just your physical cellular structure. But your physical cellular structure, if I can draw, let's get a pen and draw somehow. Here we go. This right down here. Oops, let me get this better. Let me draw better. What I'm highlighting and scribbling over in blue down here, that little drawing down there, that's the beginning of what is known as the flower of life. And the flower of life is often misrepresented as this flat structure. But I hope you can start to see that what it actually is, like each one of these is a cluster of spherical cells. And those spherical cells, when they are cut into cross-section, make patterns like where I'm scribbling on the left over there. So this over here, this is the more complex line drawing known as flower of life that you might see. You might see it printed on hats or yoga pants or tote bags or something like that. But the whole point is that is a limited amount of information that cuts out a couple of other dimensions, because we are actually multi-dimensional beings. Okay, wait a second. I go back to, how can I move stuff around? Okay, okay, thank you very much. We are actually multi-dimensional beings. Let me go to, so there's a couple of different things here. Hope you can see this picture okay. This is a painting that I did that is called Merkaba Chakra 1. And what I'm going to show you here is the interaction, the relationship between the chakra shape. That is, I'm just trying to get to the annotation. How do I get to the, hold on a minute, guys. Go back to my face. Sorry, now we'll go back to annotation. Do it. No, do it. Come on, do it, technology, do it. Good. The interaction between this shape that has straight edges. Get a color you can actually see. Get a color you can actually see. Hold on. Where I'm highlighting in red, I don't know if you can even see that color. You can't see that color. Get to a color you can see. How about black? This black line that I'm making, I'm trying to really exaggerate it. And this one over here. And this one over here. These are straight lines. And that is the outline of that star tetrahedron, which most, like when you see it on the flag of the state of Israel, or, you see it simplified. It's a simplification of that three-dimensional shape, and three-dimensional shape is actually moving in 4 dimensions. So what I'm doing here is a super scribbly outlining of what you can see. You can see that there is the basic star tetrahedron shape. And now in a different color, I'm going to show you how that relates to the sphere-based or curvilinear, circular-based chakra shape. I've got one big scribble of a vortex there, and one big scribble of a vortex down there. And then I hope you can see how it fits. Oh, that's the worst line I've ever drawn. It's really, really hard to make my pen go where I want it to go on this thing, on this program. Big hourglass shape. So this is one chakra, or like, no, not one chakra, half of a chakra. Because a chakra is actually the combination of 2 of these torus shapes. Like if this is a cross section of a torus right here, cross section, and then you've got, boom, swirly vortex at the top and the swirly vortex at the bottom. That's half a chakra, because we have to add in another vortex here and another vortex here in order for it to be a full chakra or energy center. So this painting is just the first half, or a simplified version, showing half of a chakra connecting together or interrelating with the star tetrahedron. And the star tetrahedron is based in the number 6. Okay, so let me rewind through this so that you can see this, and then I'll do some highlighting on the screen. So down in this central little floret area, you can count the purple spokes, and you can count, and you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And lots of things in our world are hexagonal or based in 6. And hex and 6 sound a lot together, sound very similar together, so that's the mnemonic device you can use to remember them. Snowflakes. Snowflakes are crystalline structures of water, and our body is made of an enormous amount of water, and the crystalline structures are based in 6. And same thing with carbon atoms. Carbon atoms are based in 6 spokes. But when you look at this area where I'm scribbling with red on top of those little shapes, you see those 4-lobed shapes. And those are motifs that you'll see all throughout my artwork, those 4-lobed, like 4 football shapes put together, or like, it kind of looks like a butterfly or something like that. How can we relate or reconcile these 4-lobed shapes that are made out of these 4 vortices with these 6-lobed shapes that are what happens when your cellular structure starts to happen at the moment of conception? So now let's go back to my face. So when I'm talking about, and I'll get to the chat too, when I'm talking about a chakra, this is a chakra that has one torus that is going around this direction and one torus that is going around this direction. 2 tori that fit together. If I hold this up to the camera in just the right way, you can see where my mouth is talking, the 4-lobed shape. But that 4-lobed shape is a cross section. And when you have cross section, it shows 4 lobes together. What you're actually seeing is something that has 8 lobes. So this is big and important. And I know that this is something that I try to describe, a lot. I hope it makes sense the more times that I go over it. Here's those 4 lobes. Cheeky wants to know what this is. Smell it. It's kind of old. It's made out of like kids' Play-Doh. It's not the fanciest sculpture I've ever made. Give me a kiss. Oh, I love you very much. Thank you for your kisses. The front half of this sculpture is those 4 lobes. But look at where my hand is holding. My hand is holding onto 1, 2, 3, 4 more of those lobes. So what we really have is an 8-lobed shape. And this is the negative space that is inside of this yellow sculpture that I show all the time. Negative does not mean bad or wrong or horrible, just like a low note is not a horrible note. It's just lower in vibration. This negative space is a different dimension. It's a different area of dimensionality. It's the space where the coffee goes in the coffee cup. That is the negative space of the coffee cup. So this orange sculpture over here is the negative space of that yellow sculpture, which is the sculpture of the time field. If I hold it up to the camera in just the right way, at just the right angle, you can see the spokes that are going around the edges. There are 6 of them. Can I count them? Where my pinky's touching. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down at the bottom. But what you got to recognize is that there's one that's pointing out towards the camera, that one that's pointing right towards you, that's extremely foreshortened. And then there's one that I'm holding back here with my hand. There's 2 more. So we have 6 spokes that go around the edge, like flower petals here, going around the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, go around the edge. But then we have 1, 2 that are pointing up and down. So when people show the regular Flower of Life drawing, what they're showing you is a slice, a plane, a 2-dimensional plane that is a slice. And this plane also has things that stick upward and downward, like up from the piece of paper and down through the piece of paper, and that those are the extra dimensions. So this is the challenge, that information that is being presented on this planet right now is limited intentionally. It's intentionally limiting you. Everyone's looking at these flat line drawings and thinking like, oh, that's what the Flower of Life is. That's what my chakras are shaped like. That's not the whole story. It's only part of the story. So a big part of it is understanding that we are experiencing this in more dimensions than is often expressed through the flat line drawings. Now wait, let me go back. I go back to stop share. Wait. Go back to screen share. Go back to screen share. Now let me show you this picture because I think it will probably be easier to see. Doing it? No, not doing it. Hold on a minute. Sometimes I'm telling you guys, sometimes technology works. Sometimes it's just giving me a hard time. This is the picture I want to show you. Do it, share screen. Still not doing it, but let's see if you guys can see it okay. I have like everything organized. Boom, that's not it. Right over here, boom. Okay, I hope you can see that okay. This is the line drawing that I prepared for that painting before I actually added the colors. So I think you can see, because it's a little bit more simplified, it's easier to see. There, and have all of the chakras lined up in there because there's more than one chakra. Just like I said in level 1. How do I annotate? It's not letting me do it. Not letting me do it. Okay. I don't know how to actually draw on here. Okay, but I can gesture with my pen. So you can see where I'm, let me get it right. I don't know why this is not working for me. Get it right, get it right. Come on, let's do it. Come on, you can do it. There we go, annotate. Good, we got it. Here's the first part of the chakra. Here's the second part of the chakra. And here's the hourglass shapes that go up the middle. And there's not just one of those hourglass or chakra shapes there. Oops. There's 7 of them. There's 7 layers. There's this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got all of the different layers of reality represented in terms of the curvilinear or spherical based aspects of self that are based in 8s and octagons. And then we have this 6-spoked formation, the star tetrahedron, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have to have these 2 things fitting together and interrelating. This is the whole point. When you put a Merkaba around yourself, you have to integrate that Merkaba with the chakra system that is based in curvilinear structures. And this is based in straight lines. Straight lines. So now let's talk about math in terms of, wait, go to the whiteboard. Go to the whiteboard over here. Visual math. Okay. And I'll get to this wonderful questions in the chat. In visual math, an arc like this that goes up like that plus an arc that goes down like this equals a straight line. And I'll do that again, but I don't know if I can draw it better here. So once again, an up plus a down equals a neutral. So if I were to take this shape over here, that is kind of a football shape like this, and I were to do visual math with that, what I would do is collapse it into this blue line that's at the center. That is how you get a straight line from curved lines. The straight line geometry, the polygons that we're looking at, are actually not the primary form. The primary form is circles and spheres, just like in that initial diagram of mitosis, the cell division. So I'm drawing over here a bunch of overlapping circles or interpenetrating spheres, and every place where I'm drawing, let's say, a black line, that's where I'm doing visual math. And this is how I can make straight lines out of things that are actually curves and circles. So every place where you see straight lines, you have to understand that they're the end result of a visual math equation, just like what I drew there. And also we need to understand that the flat line drawings to the plane, where we also have items sticking up above the plane and down below the plane. Now let me go to chat. All right, and see what is being said over here. So wait. Okay, I'm squinting, I know. Oh, excellent. So Pedro is saying, and to contain things like Fukushima, volcanoes, and diseases. So I really love your thinking, because Fukushima is a slow motion disaster that's been unfolding since 2011. It's incredibly disturbing and disheartening to think about huge amounts of cesium-137 being pumped out into the seawater, and it affects the atmosphere, it affects everything. P.S. This is also another reason why I encourage everyone to use shungite. I am not a salesperson in any way. The only thing that I sell is fly me lasagna earrings and my own clothing and my other stuff. So all the things that I tell you about, I'm telling you about because I think that they really, really work. So one of the things about shungite is that it contains a molecular structure called fullerenes, which are a carbon-60 formation. And the aspect, but I do recommend using shungite as opposed to lab-created carbon-60 because I think that there's some questions about the provenance, like where it's coming from and whether it's safe to ingest and things like that. Shungite, I know, is safe to ingest. So shungite, when you ingest it in aqueous solution, water, can put it into your body and it goes more easily into the areas of your body that are hydrophilic as opposed to hydrophobic. When you put it into a lipid solution, like coconut oil or something like that. So you can get powdered food grade shungite, put it into a coconut oil tincture and then eat that. What it does is it helps to go into your bones, which is one of the places where cesium-137 accumulates in your body. So if you eat a bunch of tuna, P.S. I want to say that, like, don't eat tuna. I mean, I eat meat. I try to eat, like grass-fed beef or something that's more sustainable. Tuna is not only endangered, but it's full of cesium-137. Like, there's no way for you to avoid that truth of reality in this time and place. So the tuna and other things that we are eating and being exposed to, I mean, it's in dairy, it's in almost everything. There tends to be an accumulation of C137 in the bones of the body. And this is not good because as the C137 is lodged in your body, it then emits, little tiny high energy particles that break apart DNA and cause death and destruction and cancer and things like that. So one of the best things you can do is eat the shungite because it goes into your bones and replaces the C137, and then that can be purged and emitted from your body so that you don't have that inside of you. And when the shungite is inside of you, it helps act to mitigate the harmful EMFs that are coming all around us from the environment. So you've got like inner armor, inner protection. So that's one of the things that I do that is like a physical thing. But then in terms of non-physical, like our minds are incredibly powerful. Like I always say, paintbrushes for reality. We paint reality with our minds. So you don't just have to be sitting around and be like, like biting your nails, like, oh no, like Fukushima's leaking. Like, what can I do? I'm just a hapless idiot sitting here on Earth's surface. No, don't do that. Say, wait a minute, with my mind, I am powerful. I'm getting kisses from my dog. Thank you, Wiggle Buns. Yes, with my mind, I am powerful. I can do stuff with my mind. I can think of a better story than just the story where humanity is haplessly poisoned to death. So putting the Merkaba, you can do a couple of things. If Fukushima is the center that is emitting this radiation, you can put a big Merkaba around Fukushima. That's very helpful. And we've also been receiving a lot of interdimensional assistance, because I'll also tell you that when you start to mess about with radiation doesn't just affect your timeline. Like the timelines are like my fingers. If this is radiation timeline, it doesn't just affect radiation timeline. That there's timeline bleed through into this timeline and this timeline too. It has to do with subatomic particles. This is what quantum means. It has to do with subatomic particles. So it's basically like if you're trashing your neighborhood, it's not just trashing your neighborhood, it starts to spill over into other neighborhoods. And then the neighbors in the neighboring areas, they're like, we don't want this trash. Let's fix this. So that's what's been happening. We've been having a lot of, luckily, interdimensional assistance with the beings who don't like us throwing our trash in their yard. They're like, yeah, stop throwing your Fukushima trash on my timeline. So it affects everyone. This is also part of the interconnectedness of consciousness and the ethics of acting. That, yeah, when you're a musician, you're sending out music, you're affecting other people, maybe even on other timelines, in other dimensions. So it is absolutely essential to send out the best high quality information and love that you possibly can, because you're affecting other beings. And when there is a horrible music that's, like, that's what Fukushima is like, horrible, horrible music. It affects everyone. They can hear it in another dimension. They're like, that's horrible, crappy music. Stop playing it. So yeah, we're receiving a lot of help from there. So what you can do is Merkaba around the building at Fukushima. Keep that radiation inside of there. You can also put a Merkaba around the Pacific Ocean and all of its tributaries and all the water that it is affecting, and the atmospheric rivers too. You can, if you get really good, you can envision Merkabas around every single little water molecule. Be like, let's protect all of the water. If you can do it, why not do it? It's just like that Green Lantern ring. Envision a gun, envision a car. That's pretty low level imagination. Imagine a sea of Merkabas that covers every single particle in the ocean. And that helps to, you can envision a Merkaba around the entire ocean in the sense of protecting all of the inhabitants of the ocean. And this is big because there are really, really wonderful beings that live underneath the water. Talking about not only, you know, like macroscopic beings like, you know, whales and dolphins, giant sea turtles. They have really wonderful minds. Their minds are virtuosos. They're incredibly intelligent and they play wonderful music. And they're getting their asses kicked not only by Fukushima radiation, but also the Deepwater Horizon, the crap that happened in the Gulf of Mexico, and all of the supposed petroleum-eating artificial bacteria that were released into the waters to eat the petroleum. Like, it just turns into horrible flesh-eating mutated bacteria, like horrible stuff. Everyone's getting their asses kicked by this pollution is the whole point. And this is down again to the interconnectedness of all life on this planet, of all consciousness, because those beings that lived in the ocean used to be like, oh yeah, those poor humans, they've got this mental disease, they've got this genetic disease, but luckily we're swimming around in the ocean and we're perfectly fine, until the oceans become horribly polluted because of the humans that have been invaded and had their genes invaded. So now it affects everyone. So yeah, you can put Merkaba around the entire ocean. You can put it around each individual water droplet. You can put Merkaba around the earth. I do this all the time. And basically, just like if I say, okay, if we go to the dog park, and Chiki and I, we've been training for going off leash. And that's where, you know, you take her off her leash and then she gets to run and play with other dogs, but she has to come back when I call her and she gets a little T-R-E-A-T. And we have to spell that out because she's super smart. If I'm doing this with her, you know, I want to make sure that she's not going to have any kind of misadventure, like, you know, another dog that bites her, or, you know, whatever, dogs get injured playing with each other or something like that. So before I let her off the leash, put a little Merkaba protection over her, because I want her to have the positive experiences, the good timeline experiences, and, you know, not any of the ones that we would consider destructive, harmful, or that where maybe she might be the aggressor against another dog. I want to put a Merkaba around any of those possibilities so that we're not experiencing those possibilities. So if we take that template and we put that template onto the ocean, we could say, let's put an ocean Merkaba where we're protecting all of the wonderful co-participants on this planet that happen to be whales or dolphins or plankton or, you know, sea turtles. And let's put Merkabas around all of those organisms so that they are able to live their life happily and run around and, you know, play with balls at the dog park, as opposed to die horribly of tumors and radiation. And keeping out, it's a refining of timelines. That's what the time field is when I'm drawing that time vortex all the time. And there are peripheral timelines where everybody gets diseased or amputated or mutilated, or, you know, you die in some way. And we are refocusing our attention away from the periphery. The periphery is the periphery of misery. It's the periphery of death and of loss. And we are refocusing it towards that central core timeline that is the experience of eternal life. All of those dolphins can be eternal. All of those sea turtles, all of those plankton, all of those whales can be eternal beings, as opposed to beings that are dead due to Fukushima. Okay, let me go answer questions. I don't want to miss the chat. Okay, all right. So let's talk about volcano as another example, because volcano is a naturally occurring thing that happens. It's like, you know, like it's like whatever, like when a woman gets her menstrual cycle, like that's a normal thing in life. You're supposed to have that. Volcanoes are a normal part of what's happening. It's not like Fukushima, which is an aberration that should never happen. So if a volcano is going to happen, we can put a Merkaba around it that says, may this volcano, may this magma be released in a way that is beneficial to the environment, in a way that doesn't harm or destroy, in a way that renews, and really, because you have to relieve pressure, it creates new land, there's fertility, there's minerals that are released, but you don't want to breathe in a bunch of sulfur. Like, that's not good for your lungs, but that sulfur can be an essential nutrient for the soil or for some other organism that needs it. So we don't want to stop. Thank you for your hugs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We don't want to stop the volcano from exploding, even though some humans might say, like, oh, we must stop the volcano at all costs. No, don't stop it. But let's say, work with it. Make the volcano not explode violently, or make it just explode in a way that doesn't hurt a lot of people, or make it explode in a way that leads to greater vitality in the landscape as opposed to less vitality in the landscape. So there are, and in terms of diseases, there are some diseases that are totally aberrant, like cancer. It's not supposed to be in existence. It's not supposed to be happening to people. So that should not be, but let's say, let's think of a different, a microbial infection. You know, there's microbes that are in existence. They're allowed to be in existence, but they just shouldn't live in your sinuses. You know what I'm talking about? If you have a sinus infection, like those microbes are energy out of place, so they can go live somewhere else. So there's, you know, there's fine points of understanding how this works maybe. Okay. Pedro is saying, if I can't get shungite, can I use the Merkaba for protection against radiation? Yes, absolutely. Now let me say this. When we achieve our like adulthood, we're like kids and we're growing up. We're like little young people and we are growing up and we are becoming stronger mental participants. Jake, I gotta talk. Boss, I gotta do my work, boss. I gotta do my work. We're becoming stronger. Oh, sorry. I squeezed her belly too much. She has a very sensitive tummy. We are becoming stronger mental participants. So, you know, we're like little infants. We're growing up. We're learning how to use our minds and our psychic powers and everything like that. When we really become adults, you don't need anything. You just need your mind. You don't need to wear clothing. You don't need to eat food. We're not there yet. We have to respect that we're on the journey. We're no longer little tiny helpless infants, and we're still growing our muscles. We're still learning, like, you know, like a little kid has to learn how to ride a bike. So at a certain point, yeah, you don't need to use shungite to protect yourself. You don't need to even eat food. You don't need to do anything other than be a divine being, but we're not there yet. And the whole point is all of these pollutions, various forms of radiation, EMF, physical pollution like genetically modified organisms, glyphosate, all of that is intended to prevent us from ever reaching adulthood. That's the whole point, like to truncate, to stop our inner development so that we don't get to those full psychic powers. When we get to those full psychic powers, it's exactly like we will be able to live like we lived in Atlantis. We won't have to eat physical food. You won't have to drive a clank car to get from here to there. We will be fully interactive with the rest of the galaxy and the rest of the cosmos. And we're not there yet. So in this level of still being a bit vulnerable, it can be really effective to use the tools. And so I'm big on the shungite because I also feel like there's no way to overdo it or do it wrong. Like, drink shungite water. Like, it's good for you. You're not going to overdo it. It's a good thing. Okay. I'm just reading. People are agreeing about the good use of the Merkaba, and I'm squinting. This is interesting. Brandon says, Merkabas around everything could look like stars in space. Yes, I put Merkabas around each individual star and the stellar network itself, because these assaults on our own DNA are not just personal insults. It's not just a problem here on this little planet. It's a pervasive problem. We have a problem in our whole galaxy. Like, this is when you really, I don't want you to be overwhelmed to the point of depression, because flying rainbow lasagna, this is a real, you know, tool for freedom. And Merkaba also is really effective. But I want you to understand the scale or the magnitude of what we're fighting against. We are fighting for freedom, for individual personal freedom, for planetary freedom, for genetic freedom. And we need a big bucket and a big mop, because it's a big mess. It's a big mess around here. So, yeah, it's a lot of work to do, and we are not alone. We get to do individual work together as a band, work with the entire symphony, work with the entire galaxy. So yeah, the stars are, I wouldn't say in jeopardy, but let's say they can be assaulted, just like each one of us can be assaulted. Your body is vulnerable. A star's body can be vulnerable, but in a different way than, like, you can be shot with an arrow or burned, but stars have different vulnerabilities. Tracy says, I sometimes imagine spinning the pyramids of my personal Merkaba with my breath. Good, wonderful. When I breathe in, I give the top one a good spin, breathe out while giving the bottom one a pyramid a good spin in the opposite direction. This way I imagine the Merkaba retaining super strong shield strength during my day as long as I'm breathing. That's a beautiful envisionment. I encourage you to, like, that's like coming up with your own melody. Keep riffing, riff away, everyone. Come up with your melodies. Tracy, your melody is beautiful. Eric says, I've had several healers explain how diseases can only flourish at certain frequencies. Yes, like cancer is in the 900 hertz, let's say, and if you operate at a higher frequency, cancer cannot proliferate. Yes. Royal Rife, this is Dr. Rife, did some scientific research that appears to verify that on a 3D level. Yes. So Rife machine, this is, again, if you're still on the journey of awakening your higher powers and being able to do all this without technology, then a Rife machine is an excellent tool. It's another one of these things that we can use to help keep ourselves happy and healthy in this time. So there's actual Rife machine that has particular frequency generators, and basically you expose the human body to those different frequencies. And it does take training in order to understand which diseases respond to which frequencies. You can get a home Rife machine that is called Spooky or Spooky 2. I'm not a salesperson, I'm just telling you about this, where basically you get these different accoutrements that stick in through the USB ports of your computer, and you either hold them, they're like paddles, or attach them to various body parts. And then there's a software program that you run through your computer to generate certain frequencies. You know, when you really become an expert, you can do it with your voice. Wait, let me get my little oscilloscope here. When you get to be a real expert, let me get this all going. Hold on a sec. I do this for when I'm singing. This is my little oscilloscope so that I can see here when I'm doing overtones. Let's do some, oops, get that notification out of there. Here, let's do some overtones. So when I'm singing overtones, so here's my regular speaking voice. Hey, that's a bunch of relatively unorganized sound waves. Here's overtones. Every time you see a circle with a little curly Q on there, that's an overtones, and you might hear the whistling sound. Do 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 do. Chica actually likes the overtones when I sing it. She doesn't like all music because she's got dog ears, and she doesn't like things like Metallica, but she likes some music. The right frequency. You can sing with the right frequency. You can literally sing your body into a state of health and well-being, or you can sing healing into other people that require it. And this is like what a lot of indigenous people would do, and what we did in Atlantis, and we can do once again. So yes, our voices can literally be a frequency generating machine that we can be experts and virtuosos in its use. While we are on the journey to learn how to become that level of virtuosity, we can utilize technology in a positive way by using something like a Rife machine or Spooky 1 or Spooky 2 in order to create these wonderful frequencies. I'm almost at the end of this recording. I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to express themselves or ask any questions before I complete everything. So are there any other questions or comments that I need to get to? And you know, I didn't even get to everything I wanted to talk about, but it's always that way. But that's why I encourage everyone to watch the recorded lessons, because I said to myself, this semester I'm going to try to follow along a bit more assiduously with what the recorded lessons are. So yeah. Oh, okay. Pedro asked, do the videos on YouTube at different frequencies really work? It depends on the quality of your speakers and headphones. Because again, you know, so even here, so I'm using a really good microphone right now in order to record my voice. But because of Zoom does an audio compression that makes the louder sounds louder and makes all the other background noise lower. Because I got like, you know, fan, we got like the air conditioning, we got like background noise. So what it does, like if I play a loud note, it'll make that louder and make everything else softer in comparison. So what that means is you might not be able to hear the subtleties of the overtones in my voice when I'm doing this. So when I have like a sound cloud of my overtones singing and my other harmonic instruments that you can really hear it, because I know on the live video conferences, it's hard to actually hear it. So the answer to the videos on YouTube is it depends on the quality of their microphone, their audio equipment, and how much it was compressed in recording, how much it was compressed in terms of uploading, and your personal equipment. Like on my, I'm using, you know, like a Mac computer right now, the internal speaker is not very good. And when I, you know, listen to music, it sounds very tinny. So I have to hook it up to either some really good headphones or hook it up to some good room speakers and then really listen to the music properly. So if you're listening to binaural beats or, you know, some uplifting music or chakra tones or something Tibetan singing bowl that's been recorded, the true tones of that instrument might not be recorded and come through in the, you know, what you're able to access, and might not come through your personal speaker system unless you might have really good speakers. Or I have some really good headphones. That's what I have, that are like, they kind of go into your ears and they have a good range of being able to have even the low pitches and the high notes too, so that I can really actually hear the music that I'm making and playing, and other people's music too. So it really, the answer is it all depends on how good your audio equipment is. And also, I think that there is something that is very nourishing and wonderful about having the actual instrument. So you guys, I have my instrument, it's over there. I don't want to get up because of Princess Cheeky over here. But when I have that harmonic instrument that is like a xylophone, when I strike it, and when I am in its presence, like when it's live or when someone else is there, there's a sensory feeling, like you kind of get like hairs stand up on your arms. You kind of feel it with your whole body. And to me, that's a different experience than just even listening to really good recordings on my headphones. So if you have the capacity to get access to either Tibetan singing bowls or resonant instruments or chimes or, those crystal type of bowls that you circulate around like this in order to make them resonate, or tuning forks, these are worthy investments. Like it might be a physical, monetary currency that might be pricey to invest in it, and it's worthwhile, I find, because it's like it's like the difference between reading about an essential oil and actually smelling the essential oil. So if you really have the physical instrument in your home and you make that sound, I feel like it transforms the environment. I play my instrument almost every day, not even like the way a pianist practices, but just to make my instrument wake up and be alive. Christine has a tuning fork. I put those vibrations into the atmosphere, because that's another thing, like in Ancient Atlantis, we put beautiful vibrations into the atmosphere, and then those vibrations reflected back to us and fed us. That's the whole point of this. So yeah, the technology that we have available to us right now really only allows for like a rough approximation of that type of food. Just like if you take a picture of the sun or a video of the sun, it's a tiny approximation of what's actually coming from the real star, and you're not going to get tan just by sitting in front of a monitor, looking at a picture of the sun. You have to really get exposed to it. So yeah, in whatever ways, like I think it would be wonderful if we had more opportunities for chanting, sound bath, overtone singing, and more experts in those fields who could give people the embodied experience of it. And that's what I'm working on, so don't worry. We're doing a Flying Rebels on Your dance party. It's gonna be really awesome, so it'll be good. Stay tuned. Are there any more questions? And also, thank you for all the questions, because I have to praise everyone who's in this class. Everyone has very great insight, like very good clarity, and asks really good questions that allow me to go in interesting directions. And also the comments that I get on the recorded YouTube videos are always very good. And I know I still have to catch up on a backlog of responding to everyone. So Cheryl says, regarding YouTube sound videos of frequencies, do you think any of them can be purposely negative? Really good question. And the answer is yes. So, okay, guys, I am not a proponent of flat earth theory at all. I'm kind of amazed at its resurgence. I wonder, like, what next? Will people stop believing in germ theory and like go and literally like eat garbage off the street? I don't know. But the truth is, like no, the earth is not flat, and like the earth is literally spherical. Like this is an actual place that is spherical, and that I've looked and I've watched the dissemination of the spores of flat earth theory happen. And I think that mostly it is due to let's say like an intoxication effect from things that are put into sound frequencies. It's in videos, like this infestation of the mind of flat earth, what people are getting and believing in. It didn't happen because they read a PDF. It didn't happen because someone sent them a file that they read. It happened because they watched a bunch of videos. And when I would have a conversation with people who believed in this, they'd be like, let me send you some videos so that it explains it all. I'd be like, no, don't give me a video. Like, write it out for me so that I can read something. And I started to understand there's something in the videos that is part of the soundtrack, I think, and that is making people programmed with ideas that I would consider unwholesome. So I'm super skeptical when I watch videos on YouTube. If it's anything that starts out with flashing lights or a spiral, or some people have, these like cool intros to introduce their channel, but it's got like flashing lights or spirals or anything that's about like that level of hypnosis, like I won't even watch the video. And that there are some videos that I only will watch like with the sound off, and I won't listen to it on headphones. And like if there's anything questionable, I don't even expose myself to that stuff. And whatever. I'm not meaning to be insulting when I say it to people that I think that they've got an infestation. I think that it's like having fleas. Like, it's not your fault. You went someplace that there were things that jumped on top of you and now they're on you, and I don't want to get them on me. It's exactly like that. Eric says, tell anyone who has a flat earth to research ley lines, study Navy ship radar, talk to any RV about what they see, and to understand science needs to know things with certainty in order for their projects to work. Yeah. With flat earth, when I talk to people about just something basic like the sun and time zones, what the day to night terminus, on the line that determines nighttime from daytime on earth, like, that's not explicable if you just have a flat earth model with this. Like, my light bulb over here, my light bulb doesn't just shine in one little area of my room. It actually lights up my whole entire room. The light actually goes everywhere. So the idea that the sun would only be illuminating half of some plane and that there would be that sharp terminus between daytime and nighttime is literally inexplicable in any other way. And so although it's good to question reality, I really find that this is not the effective way to question reality. Teddy says, I've thought about the flat earth theory is a tribal thought implant to feed us one more thing to divide ourselves into groups. Good. I'm with you there. Like, I think it's a psyop, and I think that that's part of the reason. And some people will look at me and they'll be like, Aurora, I'm now distrustful of you because you don't believe in flat earth theory. You clearly are, a tool of the system and you're trying to keep me down. I'm like, no, I'm not a tool of the system, guys. Like, I'm really not. And I think that there are serious questions about whether humanity actually flew to the moon in a clank metal spaceship, or whether that was hoaxed or done through movie magic. There are a lot of inconsistencies in the stories and seemingly technological impossibilities, but that still doesn't mean that it's a flat earth. That could just mean that humanity hoaxed, the large amount of its population into thinking that something happened that didn't actually happen. But you know how I feel about clank metal spaceships anyway. Teddy's saying yes and agreeing with me. Absolutely. Oh, this is interesting. Eric says, yes, YouTube videos also use underlying frequency tones. Yes, you got it. Specific example was an individual questioned on your post a while back. His videos had subconscious programming hums. Very interesting. All right. I mean, like, I'm totally open with you guys and you totally understand who I am. I don't need subconscious programming in order to teach people about flying rainbow lasagna. I'm literally playing the music on a genetic level that's inside of you, regardless of whether I did videos like this. Like, the music would be going inside of you. So yeah. And also, it's totally against my value system. It's like rape to force something inside of you. Like, can you even imagine, like, I'm going to force lasagna inside of you? Like, that's not what it is at all. And that's not how you get the best music. Like, let's face it, if we're trying to form a band here, we don't get the best music by being like, I'm going to punch you in the face if you don't listen. Like, that is not how you get your best performance out of fellow musicians. It's just like this little girl who's on my lap over here, just like this little person right here. You know something? All of my training and all of my behavioral stuff with Cheeky has been through love and joy and mutual respect. We do a lot with positive reinforcement. When she's doing something that's good, she gets TREAT. And when she's doing something that's bad, like, if it's dangerous, I'll stop her from doing it. But if it's just, something like that's not a desirable behavior, we redirect to something else. And all of this has been about her understanding that, she's loved. She's not going to lose her gig. Like, she's not going to get kicked out of the band because she did the wrong thing. And that literally, like, people will give you more and will perform better when they want to, when they're like, I love you, I think you're great, I want to work hard for you. She works hard for me and does a good job. Like, when we go someplace, she's like very like on her best behavior because she wants to please me, because that is an important thing. Like, she wants praise from me and she wants to please me. That is way, way, way more powerful than if she were being controlled because she's afraid that I'm going to like hit her or like pull on her neck or something like that. Like, I don't do any of that type of stuff to my dog at all. And that's also my approach to interacting with humanity. That I don't liken you to dogs or domestic animals or whatever. And you know that I love Cheeky. But in terms of sharing flying rainbow lasagna, I don't do this in a way that's like, I'm going to punch you, I'm going to hit you, I'm going to kick you if you don't do this right. It's not like that at all. And you can tell, like, I don't even do advertising for my class, but the way that I try to get people to participate, because you know why I don't do advertising? It's not because I don't want to be successful or, have money or whatever. It's because I literally see it as a form of consciousness control, like mind control. Like, you walking down the street, you don't think that you want a particular lipstick, but then you see an advertisement, you're like, wait, I want that lipstick. It's like that. You don't really want that. Someone else put that in your mind. I don't want anybody to come to Flying Rainbow Lasagna because it was somehow artificially put inside of them. That's not love. Real love is when you're like, I love that person just because I love that person, not because they did some kind of like fake advertising. Exactly. Teddy's saying authenticity. So yeah, so I always say to people, like, this is an invitation, come along, but I'm not going to twist anybody's arm. And I'm not going to like do some kind of mind control where I, use words to manipulate you and make you want something that you didn't know that you wanted before. It's like, no, it's an opportunity. So that's my, like, it's, man, if I had Jedi mind tricks, I wouldn't use them to try to get other people to buy my earrings. Like, that's just not ethical. You got to keep your stuff together in terms of being ethical. So yeah, I would not do any kind of mind control of other people, because it's also quite ironic. Like, this is a tool for freedom. You can't be mind controlled into freedom. You can't be MK'd towards freedom. Like, that's antithetic. It doesn't make sense. Does not compute. So yeah, the journey towards freedom, it must be consensual. You have to be a consensual participant. So that's why I invite people to be a part of this class, but I don't force people to do it against their will. And also, the louder our music becomes here in the Lasagna band, like, we are all co-participants. We're like, yes, we want to do lasagna. We're on board. The more that we do this, the more that we make our music strong, the more it affects other people, and we're allowed to do that. That is totally ethical, because there have been a lot of dark magicians and a lot of evil beings that have been affecting us quite a bit, and it's totally fair. Like, sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. We can get our minds together and use our mental and imaginative power and generative reality generating power in order to create a wonderful, expansive, comfortable existence that is totally antithetical to what we've been experiencing in terms of suffering and constraint. Yeah, Gala is saying unravel the mind control. That's exactly it. And the more people that are free, the better our music becomes, the better our entire planet becomes, the better our shared mutual experience of reality becomes. So that's why I'm all about, like, I do this in a really ethical way, and I have to do it in that way. And it was challenging. When I first got here, it was very challenging because I had to be super patient, because I think I told you, I thought that it would just be a couple of years and then we'd all be light eaters. Like, I thought, like, I'm just going to have to eat food for a couple of years. And like 17 years later, I'm like, oh my God, this is taking a long time. But I can't like force anybody to do anything. So that's part of how it is. Pedro asks, curious how knowing about the flying spaghetti monster made me want to know about the flying rainbow lasagna. That is very funny. Many people have said that to me when I say flying rainbow lasagna. They think flying spaghetti monster. I'm like, no, it's not really connected. It's not really the same thing. And I think sometimes when people hear the word flying rainbow lasagna, they think like, oh, what a frivolous idea. Like, what a nonsensical idea. But really, it's something pretty profound. But it's named something that is very lighthearted. So maybe people only think that serious thing, like, have to have like I'm not a very serious person. And yet I share these profound concepts with everyone. And also, like, I'll tell you, that's part of being a cosmic virtuoso, like lightheartedness, like not taking yourself or other things too seriously, and approaching life as a fun adventure, and approaching art making and music making and collaboration, reality collaboration as a fun adventure and something that's joyous. I think that's I say I'm lighthearted and I'm very joyous in what I do. That's actually a sign of being an expert. Like, you don't have to be super formal and super serious, and you can do this with a lot of fun and joy. That's Teddy saying that's the wisdom of the divine fool. Yeah. And I mean, I don't call myself or anybody who's participating in this class a fool. And Christine is holding a wonderful stuffed unicorn and making it fly across her screen. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we live in a world, yeah, love, laugh, and live, definitely, Gala. We live in a world that can be considered nightmarish. And our response to that nightmarishness does not have to be, the hope of a lobotomized idiot or anything like that. We don't deny that that's going on. We can use playfulness and joy in order to supersede those really negative emotions and perturbations and move in a much more positive direction. And I'm telling you, you get a way better performance in terms of music, in terms of dog training or anything like that from joy. Like, I try keeping it joyful, keeping my own practice my own artwork joyful and my own interrelationships with people, and you know, sharing ideas. Keep it joyful, and I think that is the best way to get good performance from everyone. So let me wrap it up for today. I'm so happy. This is a wonderful start to a wonderful, good semester. Yes, it's not the end by far. We will continue to do our wonderful weekly meetings. This is now, for anyone who's not informed but who's getting informed, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. as per the poll that I took. The greatest proportion of people wanted it at that time, so I'm happy to accommodate the most people that I can on various different continents. Let me just read one more thing. Teddy says the divine fool is a classic archetype of the one that knows the truth and laughs at the foolery of the banal world. That's for real. That is for real. We can laugh at people that are, you know, working at serious jobs, or taking the politicians in Washington, D.C., the people with the buttoned up suits, buttoned up all the way up to here. Like, clearly I'm coming from a different direction. If I had to have some kind of a job like that, I'd be like, okay, like, I'm going to bring my art studio to my boring job. I'm going to paint a painting in one of those meetings, because they're like, they have to go through some really boring meetings. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, spend all their time sitting in a conference room and blah, 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 and then having their shirt buttoned all the way up. And it's just not very much fun. Okay, wonderful. The positive reviews on the better day and time. Wonderful, wonderful. So I'm going to just sign off for right now, but not for forever. Thank you to everyone who's been participating. And yeah, I encourage everyone, if you already have done level 1, do level 2. Like, it's just more of the good, same good stuff from level 1, but in expansion. And you know, the topics that I spoke about today and the images that I shared, those are absolutely from the recorded lessons. I'm going to be walking more in conjunction with those. So yes, sign up. It's worth it. It's worth it, because things will make much more sense. Let me just end the recording and say thank you.